So I wanted to start here on the Treezor homepage, and the only reason I'm stopping here quickly is to just show you the variety of coins that are supported on this device. So on their homepage here, a safe place for your coins, they support hundreds of different cryptocurrencies. So obviously Bitcoin, but it can go through depending on the device. We're dealing with the Treezor Model T here, and it details every single coin that they support. A lot of these obviously are ERC20 tokens, which is any sort of coin that is built on top of Ethereum. Those are easy to add on because they all are basically the same and basically the same to deal with. It's super easy to implement, but you can see that for the Treezor Model T, it has a ton of different coins for the regular Treezor. One of those other ones are still in the works. All of these ERC20 tokens are still soon to be coming, whereas they're already implemented on the Model T. But beyond that, let's get into basic setup. Now there are two things that you're gonna need to do before you can actually really get into using your Treezor. Number one is you're gonna need to download something called Treezor Bridge. And so I just want to show you something now. This is the regular URL that you would go to use your Treezor. It's wallet.treezor.io. And if it's your first time visiting this site, you're going to see instead of this thing saying connect Treezor to continue, you're going to see a little button that says download Treezor Bridge. And this is just a program that allows you to actually communicate between your browser and your Treezor itself. So it's a quick button you click, it downloads a program, and you hit install. And that's it. Okay, but what you're going to be doing after that is you're going to be going to Treezor.io/start, and this is where you're going to get started with everything. Once you have Bridge installed, so it asks you to select your device. I'm going to be selecting the Model T, which is, at the time of this video, is taking me to the beta wallet setup. So it has more features, but not all of them are perfect yet. So I might encounter the odd thing that doesn't work perfectly, but I'm okay with that. I'm not worried about losing funds to this. They're just adding more features. So I'm going to click Treezor Model T. And that takes me to, remember the other website was wallettreezor.io. This one is beta.wallet.io. So just slightly different. Now I've already installed the bridge, so it just tells me to connect my Treezor to continue. Now this is where one thing will also differ for you guys. Here now, this wallet, this Treezor, has already been used once. I've since wiped it to kind of start as fresh as I can. But when these things ship, they actually don't have any firmware installed on them. So kind of like an empty shell. And so the first time you plug it in, it's gonna ask you and say that you need to install the firmware from the Treezor website. And so again, you just follow the prompts on the device. It asks you if you want to install the firmware, and then once it's all done, all you have to do is unplug it and plug it back in again. And you'll get to this screen. So pretty much it just asks you to install something on the device, but it's really easy. You just follow the prompts. Unfortunately, I can't completely uninstall the firmware to show you that step once it's been done. But let's continue on this site and see what is next. So I would like to create a new wallet. We're going to start from scratch. So I'm going to hit create new. Now on the device, it says needs backup. Okay, so this is going to be a major part of setting up your Treezor wallet. A backup is key, so it says your Treezor is ready. But first, let's get familiar with the various features of the wallet. So this is just a general information screen. I'm going to hit continue to wallet. Now it says your Treezor is not backed up. Protect your coins from the unexpected. Start now. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do this because this is very important. What I want you to do is think of your Treezor as the key to your accounts. And right now, because I haven't done a backup, this key here is the only copy of that key. And it would be impossible for somebody to guess and duplicate this key and access my account. Which means if I lost this device right now and it had funds on it, well, I would be out of luck. There is no way I would ever be able to duplicate this key. So I might want to make a second key. I want to make a backup of this key. So that's what this is. So I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to hit create backup in 3 minutes. And this is where it's going to give me my recovery seed. This is a series of 12 words that I'm going to write down and store. Now you don't want to take pictures of this. You don't want to share it with anybody. You don't want to write it on a file in your computer. You definitely don't want to put it on cloud storage. The reason is if anybody gets a hold of this, they have a copy of the key to your account You do not want that, so please write it on those little cards that they gave you. And I'll have them in front of me, but oh wait, okay, your personal recovery seat, and on the other side of this, you have 12 slots to write in your words. So use those resources. Write them down and then keep them in a safe place. Okay, so I'm gonna say I understand and I agree. This warning, continue, and then on my device, it actually shows me my first assess. Never made a digital copy of your recovery, so it's warning me. Once again, I'm gonna hit I understand, and now it's going to give me my list. So it gives me the first 4 words, and I'm just gonna write them down. And then I can swipe to get to the next ones, and I can see word 5 through 8 here. Once I have written all of these down, I'm just gonna hold on the touch screen, hold to confirm, goes around the circle, and we're set. So here it wants me to start typing in the words that I've written down. Not all of them, just some of them. So this works a little bit like old school text messaging, when it was just flip phones, and you had to kind of hit the button multiple times to get to a certain letter. So I'm gonna type the word detail. Okay, so that was the second word I wrote down. So I'm gonna go D, all right, and now to go to the second letter, I hit it twice. To get to the E, then I need a T, so hit this button twice and it auto-fills. So it's not gonna be a huge pain to get through this. If I want that word, I simply tap it now. It's asking me to type the 7th word and tap it once more. Awesome. And that's all I need to do. I need to confirm 2 words, and now on my screen I can see it says you have successfully backed up your device. Okay, so I'm gonna hit continue and move on. If you have different Treezor devices, you might want to label them differently, so you know which one you're dealing with. I'm just gonna name it for fun because why not? So we're gonna hit continue, and I'm going to name this Beauty BTC Sessions Test. Oh, I can't have that many. Let's just lose a space here. Test, okay, perfect. So I'm gonna confirm to continue, and now on my device itself, it says, do you really want to change the label to BTC Sessions Test? Yes, I do. I'm gonna hit the green check. All right, apparently I chose a different name. Let's continue on OK. Set up the pin lock. Okay, so we're gonna choose a pin. So let's say you lost this device and somebody knew what it was. They wanted to plug it in and access your funds. Well, if you have a PIN number, they get, I believe, it's 3 tries before the device will wipe itself. Okay, so we're gonna set up a PIN because we definitely want that added security. So I'm gonna hit the green check and I'm gonna enter a new PIN. Now you'll notice these numbers are not in any sort of order. In fact, it scrambles them every single time so that an attacker who's trying to figure out your PIN number wouldn't be able to see what you are doing. So for the purposes of this video, I'm going to have a very simple password. We're just going to go with 1234 1234, and I'll hit the green check, and it asks me to enter it one more time, 1234, and check, and there we go. Good job, your PIN is set. I will hit continue on the screen here, and now stay updated with our newsletter. We'll send you only important messages. Now, I don't like getting a ton of emails, so I'm actually going to skip this step. And I already followed them on Twitter, and I'm not a huge user of Medium, so I'm gonna hit continue, and there we go. My Treezor is all set, and I'm gonna hit finish. And now we are all set up. The Treezor is set. I have named my account, and I've written down my backup. I am good to go and ready to do transactions. So what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna take a look through the user interface and what's in front of you. So what we're gonna see up in the top left is the coin that you are currently dealing with, as well as a little drop down menu. When you hit this drop down menu, it gives you every other coin that you can currently deal with this device. Now, you may be looking at this list going, hey, I thought you said they had hundreds of coins you could deal with. Well, I was also mentioning that a lot of those were ERC20 tokens, which is coins built on top of the Ethereum network. The Ethereum network, now, whenever you use ERC20 tokens, it actually ports you over to an external site called MyEtherWallet. I have done a video on myetherwallet.com and how to use it with other hardware wallets. but the process is much the same as with a Treezor and any other wallet. So I will link to that video down below if you want to see how to use ERC20 tokens and things like Ethereum. But for the purposes of this video, I am not going to be covering that because that is a whole other ballgame and it takes a lot of explaining. So please check out that video if you're curious. Anyways, here is the name of my device. You can see it on screen whenever it's plugged in and I've logged in. If I checked it, then it'll take me out of this screen. Down below, I also see my account. It gives me how much of that particular coin I have and the US dollar value. Right there, I can also add additional accounts, but not until I've had at least a single transaction in my first account. Okay, I can also add a legacy account. Now, if you're unfamiliar, Bitcoin has something called SegWit. It essentially condenses transactions in a certain way that cuts down on fees. However, if you for some reason want to use the old addresses, which start with a 1, you can do that here by getting a legacy account. Now, beyond this app settings, let's just take a look at what we have. You can change your local currency. This is something I would like to do. However, right now, they only have a single option. Obviously, if you have this option here, it is something that's being worked on, and maybe by the time you see this video, that will be changed, and there will be other other currencies available here. But for now, US dollars only. Now, some of this may not be of interest to some of you, so this is just selecting, I guess, where your Treezor wall is pulling its information from and how it functions. Now, again, not a lot of options here. Currently, as I said, this is in beta, and this seems to be something they're building out right now. The only thing that I see different from just pulling information from this Treezor wallet is you can go to Torque or Litecoin, like Corio, but I'm going to leave everything as it is, a Bitcore server. Again, you're getting into some technical stuff here, not anything that I want to make changes to right now. Now, enable labeling. Let's take a look at this. It lets you link your Dropbox account to your Treezor and rename accounts, add comments to transactions, label addresses, so on and so forth, so that you can then research for particular transactions. Again, I'm not looking to connect to my Dropbox right now, but that is an option for you as well. And below that, tips, support center, all the typical support that you would expect. Now, the important stuff really is here. Your list of previous transactions. There's none yet. There will be soon. You have your receive screen, which shows the beginning of an address, and I can add more addresses below. So with your wallet, you can have more than a single address. Okay, so you can send to multiple different addresses, all under your control for any coin that you are holding. If I hit show full address, what it's going to do is then show me the full address, not only on my computer, but on my device itself. And what this does is it actually allows me to check to see if what I'm seeing on my computer is truthful, because the device is what's actually holding these accounts. And if on my computer is different, it could mean that my computer is compromised and somebody's trying to insert a different address for them to receive their money to. So this is just an extra security measure to ensure what you're looking at is true. Now, if on the device I hit this button that says QR, it'll bring up a QR code, which I can then scan with a mobile wallet on my phone. Or it can go back to the address. I can just hit the check mark, and that then allows me to see the QR code on my computer itself. And again, if I wish to scan with a mobile wallet. Now let's head over to the send screen. The send screen has a couple different things you can paste in an address. So I could copy and paste an address from anywhere, from a desktop wallet or from an email or whatever. Or I can scan a QR code. So if I open up the QR code scanner, first as if I'm gonna allow my camera to open, and when it does, there's me. So I could scan a QR code using my webcam now. I could also put in an amount that I want to send either in Bitcoin or in US dollars or whatever coin I happen to be dealing with. So if I type in a US dollar amount, it'll auto convert to the amount in Bitcoin. Or if I type in a Bitcoin amount, it'll auto convert to the US dollar amount. So I know what I'm sending. I also can set my fee. So this will be auto-calculated based on how busy the network is. It is calculated in Satoshis per byte. A Satoshi is the lowest denomination of Bitcoin that there is, which is the 8th decimal place. So right now, if I want to send a super cheap transaction, and I don't care if it takes a little bit longer, I would send 1 Satoshi per byte. If I wanted to get through relatively quickly to Satoshis per byte, and if I wanted to get through really, really fast, guaranteed, that is going to be done in around 10 minutes or less, then I would send 5 Satoshis per byte. Fees on the network have been pretty low lately, but keep in mind, Satoshis per byte, it depends on the type of transaction. The amount of data being sent is how your pricing model works. Most transactions are 200 and something bytes, and the value of a single Satoshi in dollars and cents can vary quite a bit. But as it stands right now, these kind of prices, you'll be spending a few cents, but we'll see that when we do an actual transaction. And beyond this, we also have a sign and verify screen. This is more so to prove that you are you online, so proving that you have access to the keys that are on this device. You can write a specific message and more or less verify that it is you and send it to a particular address. You can also verify that you did write something at a later date. So you can put in a message, an address, and a signature and verify that it is you. So yeah, again, not something that I use often, but that option is there. So let's get into some transactions. Now for today's video, I'm going to be using a desktop wallet by the name of Exodus to send and receive transactions in and out of this Treezor. Okay, so I'm just gonna open up that program here. I've got some Bitcoin sitting in it, and that's what we're going to be dealing with today. So I'll just head over to my Bitcoin wallet here, and we'll just leave that there. We'll head back to the Treezor screen. So I want to receive some Bitcoin. So I'm going to go to my receive screen. Very simply, I'm going to hit show full address, and I'm going to verify that address on the device itself. I usually just look at the first few digits, 33RP, and the last few digits, KLD3, and cross-verified between the two devices. It looks good to me, so I'm gonna hit the check mark here, and now I am free to go ahead and copy this address. So I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna copy that address. Now keep in mind again, if I had a mobile device, I could be scanning the QR code as well, but in this case, I need to actually just copy it. So I'm gonna go now back to my Exodus wallet, and I'm gonna hit send, and now I can paste in my address. If I had scanned from a mobile address from a mobile device, then this would also populate into the recipient field. But another case here. Okay, now I'm going to be sending over, let's say 0 points. What I want to do, 0 to Bitcoin. So that's where I'm 200 bucks Canadian, and I'm from Canada. So the US dollar thing is a little inconvenient for me, but that's okay. Okay, so I'm just gonna hit send, confirm, and off it goes. So let's go back to the Treezor, and we're gonna go to transactions. I can now see that I have a balance of $153 US. So I didn't lose money. There, keep them hid. I didn't lose money, it's just the conversion from Canadian dollar value to US dollar value. But the amount of Bitcoin is the same, 0.02 BTC. The exact amount I sent over, okay, so this shows me a graph of transactions coming in versus transactions going out. And this will be updated with every new transaction that happens. All right, I can also see any other transaction details here. If I click on details, it will take me over to BTC Explorer on their Treezor Insight website, and this gives me all kinds of details on my transaction. I can see that it was 224 bytes. That's a size, the amount of data that was sent. It shows me the fee rate, but it's calculated different here. It's per kilobyte, not per byte. It shows the time it was received, and it's unconfirmed right now. So the Bitcoin network updates roughly every 10 minutes to include new transactions. So once that's confirmed, I should see a confirmation, and it will be spendable. and I can see the amount of the actual fee in Bitcoin that I spent on my transaction here. So we'll wait for that to confirm, and then we'll come back and we'll try sending it a portion of it at least back out. So it's been a few minutes now and I have a confirmed transaction down below. Reason I know is it says 3 minutes ago. And if I hover over and it says that I have one confirmation, I can see when that was confirmed. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna send a transaction out. So we're just gonna go to the send screen now at this point. Like I said, I could click on the QR code if I had a mobile device ready with the QR code to scan, but we are actually going to paste in an address. So I'm gonna go over to my Exodus wallet that I had open. I'm gonna hit receive and I'm gonna go ahead and copy this address. They actually have a quick copy button down below. So I'm just gonna tap that and I've now copied my Bitcoin address. So I pasted my receiving address in the field here. Now at this point, I want to select an amount that I would like to send over. So I'm gonna send back half of what I just received, so 0.01 Bitcoin. Now our fee here, we can do a drop down and we can choose, and notice that this has changed since the last time we looked. So the high-speed transaction is now 6 Satoshis per byte. So this will dynamically change based on network conditions. It also gives me an expected time frame. Usually from my experience, they will overestimate this time frame, so that if it gets through earlier, then you're a happy camper. It's always better to under promise and then over deliver. So this for 2 Satoshis per byte is a cost of around 3 cents. That's 3 US cents. If I were to go for the high, it would be 8 cents to send this. But I'm not in a huge rush, so I'm just gonna go with the normal fee. And that works out to 76 US dollars that I'm sending over, which is 0.01 Bitcoin. If I had a second recipient, I could add a recipient here and add a secondary amount. This is known as batching a transaction, which actually cuts down on the fees because you pay a single fee for that transaction instead of per recipient. So this is another good way to cut down on fees. Now I don't need to send to multiple people right now, but if I did, I could paste in here or scan another QR code and select my amount. Anyways, I can just X out to get the single transaction I wanted. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to hit send, and this is where I'm going to see my confirmation on my device. So it says, do you want to send 0.01 Bitcoin to the following address? If yes, you're going to hit the green check. And then it says one more time, this is the amount being sent, including the fee. You're going to hold it to confirm. So I hold, it goes around the circle and my transaction has been sent. Now you can see on the transaction screen, things have changed. So I can see that it basically gives me a rundown of whereing that it shows how much I received. So the green, I see an incoming transaction. Up top, I see an outgoing transaction down below, and it gives me the median of where I am at. Now with both transactions, and it does this day by day, so I can get a quick picture of my accounts here. Now let's go over to Exodus and see. I can see that there is a pending transaction there that is incoming. So we are all set. We're now done. It is followed by a send now. We're going to do one more thing here. We're going to go ahead and we're going to try not only wiping this device so it's restoring it back to factory settings without any information on it, and then restoring our account again. So what we're going to do is we're going to actually tap on the device over on the left hand side of the screen, and that gives us 3 different options. So these are some further settings that you can go into. I can change the label of my device. I can change my PIN. I can show my extended public key, which I'm not going to dive into. What that is right now, especially for those of you that are beginners, you don't necessarily need to know that at the moment. I can also pick my home screen, and there's a whole host of different home screens that you can have. Okay, so like I said, we're going to wipe the device. So I'm going to go to advanced. Now advanced here, I want to go all the way down, and there's a thing that says wipe device. So I'm going to tap that. It's going to say you need to confirm all the data on your device will be deleted. This action cannot be undone. never do this action with Treezor or holding coins unless you have your recovery seed at hand, which we do. We wrote it down earlier, so on my device, I need to control to confirm this action. So I'm going to do that. And here we go to your Treezor has been successfully wiped. Please disconnect it. Now I pull out the cord and I get bumped back to this main screen that we had at the beginning. So right now this device, even though there were still funds on it, when I wiped it, if I plug this in again, I cannot access those funds. I need to have my recovery phrase, and we're going to go do that now. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to plug in my device. Now it is bumping us to the setup screen again, but this time we're going to do something different. We're going to hit recover wallet. We want our funds back, so we're going to need our recovery seat. It's telling us, so we're just going to hit continue. Now how many words is your recovery seed? So the one that you wrote down at the beginning, it was 12, so I'm going to hit 12. And now I'm going to start going through and typing all of the words, all 12 of them that I have now. I know this is a bit of a pain, but this is also the cost of security and being your home bank. So I'm going to go ahead and type in my first word, SONG for song. And I'm going to do that all the way through for every single word. So on the completion of putting in all your words, you won't see any special notifications. You're just going to be bumped to this screen where it says your Treezor is ready. And you will see the Treezor logo on the device itself. It gives you the same information that we had before. I'm just going to hit continue to wallet, and looky here. I have not only my funds still in the wallet, but I still have my transaction history of everything that has happened with this particular wallet itself. So we've just recovered everything here. Now keep in mind that it is now labeled as my Treezor, because if you imported the account again, but the labels that you put on stuff are not retained. Alright, so if I want to name this back to BTC Sessions Test or something else, I can go ahead and do that. You can see that again, my progress is 40%. I have my backup and everything, but I can still name accounts and so on and so forth. Beyond this, like I said, if I want to deal with other coins, I simply hit the drop down. I can pick a coin like Litecoin, and it will simply bump me to the exact same screen, but with a different coin. So I can see again, it still says my Treezor, but I'm gonna have to receive and send here, this time with Litecoin addresses instead. And one final thing I'd like to show you guys is I was talking about dealing with Ethereum before and how it ports you to a separate site. Now I'm just gonna show you what happens when you go to your Ethereum wallet. Here, so if I hit the drop down menu and I choose the theory, it gives you an option. They actually utilize two sites. So my crypto split off from my Ether wallet before essentially just the developers went different ways, and they each made their own website. When you go to use Ethereum or Ethereum Classic, you go to my Ether wallet or my crypto. So if I click online Ether wallet, it's going to take me to this website. It's going to ask me how would I like to access my wallet. I'm using a Treezor, so I click on that and I hit connect to Treezor. Now here it says, would you like to export your public key? If you're a newbie, don't panic about this. Just hit the export button, even if it sounds confusing to you. And this can be a little intimidating as well, but it will auto select what you need here. So just choose the first one. You can see Treezor in here, and then you just pick an address. You can have multiple different addresses. If you're unsure, just use the first one and then hit unlock your wallet. And this takes you to a screen where you can then deal with Ethereum and Ethereum based tokens. That is as far as I'm going to go with anything Ethereum related here. But if you're curious and you want to learn how this works, please check out my other video.
Liracoin. We were born to grow together.